told me to go ahead and
Okay.
click on.
Okay,
Go
Mrs.
live.
Hatt.
Great grandson don't want to leave Head Start. I'm like, they can come down and they can get on the bus. No.
He didn't want to leave to come home.
Hey, put on my workout.
Grace? Grace? Yeah, she's off. She's off.
Is that every Friday? Just remember that. Jessica asked me.
Oh, I thought it was for us.
Yeah, he was trivia.
We don't have to pay a dollar. We have spirit. We have spirit and $1. I knew y'all would they were summer. I don't know, we should do spirit for $1 up here. We'll have a little kitty.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were fundraising, you know? Like,
How about our background?
you guys do it on Saturday. Baby pizza.
So we want to wear like a free dress on Tuesday, we bring $1? Everybody in charge, okay.
Mary, Security, Special Secretary.
Are you?
She gives the best hugs. She does. She's so fresh.
You're sitting in between. I want you to follow through.
I'm between the flowers.
Okay, Christian.
Nobody's telling me that she's
Oh, God, you're here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We're live.
And my noise, the programmer. So that means we need to make our way. My baby's in junior high. I know she loves her dog. I love the dog. You're just fair. Fair to Midland. Yep.
Man with the play.
I know what y'all
Hey.
doing.
Yeah, I'm done.
What you had to do?
Come to order. Mr. King, release and prayer. Randy, release and prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come this hour, dear Heavenly Father, asking you for your guidance and us doing the right thing for this school system. Look upon all this memory, Lord. Give us the understanding, Lord, to do what is right and correct based upon your understanding, Lord. Please bless and we ask in your blessed name. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Randy Rance.
Here.
Judith Ann McKee.
Here.
Melinda Ballard.
Here.
Aaron Glass.
Here.
Maria Bass.
Here.
Gary Castles.
Here.
James King.
Here.
All right. Item A is the executive committee report. Randy?
Here's the checks, everything looks good, everything's in order. Again, our sales taxes are up 27% this month compared to last year at this time. So
B is approved July 8th, 2020 board minutes.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I second that.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item C is approved service animals policy, and I think it's in your folder.
Nick, as I asked earlier, I'm assuming that's just something new that, we have to deal with within the school system itself.
Rebecca's gonna talk about it, so
Yeah,
she can explain.
it's a policy that we should have had already. I mean, this is not something that, you know, we just decided we really wanted to do. The ADA requires that you consider this, for any persons with disabilities that wants to bring a service animal to school. We just didn't have a policy written out for if someone made the request, how we would handle it. This is straight from Hammond, Sills, and Geis, so this is just their recommended policy of how we would handle it. And it basically just says if someone were to ask that, you know, we would say that they would have to have a meeting with us, that we would have to make sure that the animal's trained, that we would have to, you know, get all the paperwork for the animal to say that it had the shots, that it actually had the required training for the disability, you know, that sort of thing. So this is talking about, you know, like a seeing eye dog or a seizure dog or something like that. This is not, you know, I'm notorious for making a joke about, you know, emotional support pigs and that sort of thing. This is for, you know, things that are outlined in federal law. And like I said, we're required to do it. It's just, we never had a policy where if somebody came to us and made this request, how we would handle it. So if you look through the policy, I mean, it even talks about what we would do if somebody came in and it was decided, yes, they need it, but, you know, like, a lot of people are afraid of dogs. So if we had, it even outlines what we would need to do to fix that conflict between another student or a teacher and the animals.
Now, Rebecca, on item number 4, the reason why I'm asking is because we just dealt with this last week in a members club where a guy had a service dog, but it come to find out the dog wasn't properly trained, so they ended up having to send it to Florida to get it trained, and he's still not able to handle it, but he has PTSD, he's a veteran in the Marine. On number 4, who's responsible for making sure that this is in place before the dog comes to school?
Well, so the way this is, this policy is written, and like I said, this is just our guidance from legal, is that it would fall under the 504 coordinator, which,
So we have it, right?
so for us, that would be Ms. Tanya Green.
Who fortunately loves animals.
Yes.
We have a motion to accept.
So moved.
Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, item D is consideration of substitute worker pay increase. David?
Okay. Y'all should have that in front of you. Mickey at some point asked about raising the numbers and, to look back and see when was the last time we had an increase. And Carla helped out quite a bit on that. It goes back a ways, so it goes back to at least 2010, 2011. So the proposal is to, raise, and, you know, there's various classifications. Fiscal year 21 is at the top, and it shows you the current rate for no degree for a teacher, with a degree for a teacher, and certified for a teacher. Those rates are 64, 71, 84. And you got the paras at $58, and the secretaries, and custodian at $72.50, and lunch personnel at $58. Bus was raised somewhat recently, they're at $55. Talked to Jeff, and he said they were one of the highest, or, you know, a good rate in comparison to other parishes. Below that, I have the expenditures for the current year. We spent $211,000 out of all 3 funds, or classifications. General fund had $180,000. So that's about $29,000 of, 29,000 hours of work. If we change it to the proposed rates, or at least these rates, for $72, and then you break across, The impact would be about $21,000 on the general fund. And that's assuming we have as many substitutes as we had in fiscal year 21. And obviously 21 is one of our highest years we've ever had for substitutes. So hopefully there'll be less in a normal future year. 22 is going to be one of the future years that we will see a decrease. It's probably be somewhere around 21,000. So anyway, that's where the proposal resides. It's up to the board to decide, if they like those numbers or.
I'll make a motion.
Why didn't you raise the, tell me again why you didn't raise the bus?
The bus has been raised recently.
When?
3 years.
Since I've been superintendent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were at 40, Jeff said they were $40 and they're now 55. So on an hourly basis, I mean, that's closer to $14,000 per hour. For 4 hours.
Yeah, we were going there before COVID hit. Yep. Kind of be around it.
I'll make a motion with accept the recommendation.
I'll second that one.
Any roll call?
I'll do a roll call on it.
All right.
Mr. Rents?
Yeah.
Yes. Ms. McKee? Stain?
I sure do.
Ms. Ballard?
Yes.
Mr. Glass?
Yes.
Ms. Bass? Yes. Mr. Castle?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
And Dick, I'm sure, do you think it'll be about the same this year or more? Probably won't be less, right? Given the circumstances we're in compared to
So,
last year.
given the circumstances since last year, of course, the Delta variant is a lot more contagious, and so we are seeing a lot. I mean, we've been in for 2 days now. The good thing is that those who are vaccinated do not have to quarantine. And so the adults that are vaccinated, if they're identified as a close contact, they do not have to go home. Whereas everybody had to go home last year if you were a close contact. So hopefully that number will be reduced.
And we still don't know the number of employees that have been vaccinated.
She said we can't ask you. You mean vaccinated?
Yeah.
She says we can't ask you.
Well, I mean, I'm
But in the
seeing,
event that the nurse calls to tell them they're a close contact, if they can provide, that they have been vaccinated, then they don't have to take off. And of course, with our sick leave policy the way that it is, everybody's taking their sick leave, their personal sick leave to, if they get quarantined, and so nobody's gonna lie about that.
because I saw somewhere where you either had to be a vaccine or have a test, like what, once a week or something like that?
There are lots. I got a news flash today from New Orleans, that they are doing that. I know a lot of the colleges are threatening it. I know some of them are not just threatening, they're requiring it to live on campus. So it's all around us.
Yeah. So that may be something we have to deal with.
You're gonna lose a lot of teachers, you make them back.
Well, I mean, I'm not for making somebody do something, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I mean, my job is to ensure that the kids are okay, and, I mean, at some point, you got a choice to make. And I didn't wanna get it, but I got it.
Yeah, but some people don't, you got reasons not to get it.
Well, I mean, that's justifiable.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but back to the substitute pay, I mean, it's our hope that with more people who are vaccinated do not have to quarantine, that will reduce the number of substitutes we have to have.
Good luck.
All right, moving on. Item E is the financial update.
Okay. Did something I said I'd never do, and that's do something on legal, because I hate doing legal sheets. So anyway, the big legal sheet, that's where we are for the fiscal year 21. The lighter blue columns are your general fund, and then all your other funds are special revenue funds, that's column M. Or your debt service fund, which is column N. Collectively, if you add all those together, they equal column O. We're gonna be down $308,000 collectively for all the funds. The highlights, column C, the red line towards the bottom, $281,000. That's a decrease on Fund 1. The Medicaid fund, column E, is $124,000 down, but we are still getting revenue on that applies to the prior year, or to fiscal year 21. So that number's going to not be as bad collectively for the general fund, we're down $400,000. Column I, the lunch fund, is up $150,000, so that's the shining star. Column L, we're down $43,000 for all other funds, and that probably would go close to zero, because we got, an amount we still have to book a receivable for, so that's pretty good. I guess that's about it. About down at the bottom is the fund balance recap. For general fund, after this year is closed, assuming we have a $400,000 loss, we'll still have a fund balance of $7.1 million. Overall, we have a fund balance of about $9.1 million.
Dave, what's the status on those, taxes, those suits?
They're included in here, this part, we count them as revenue. Because it's most likely we're going to receive it. I talked to, Scott there, but, pretty good. He says we're still looking very good, just a matter of getting a court date set from their side, or from the judge's side, and having it resolved. So, always good on that. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Dave.
Ms. Jacobson, you got anything you want to add to that?
All right, item G is district leaders update. Head Start.
Well,
update.
that's
Let's get
okay,
to
we're just gonna start doing it together.
Are you?
Well, because I mean, I do both of them, so instead of
Okay.
calling it twice.
Okay, good.
Okay, so for Head Start, right now at Kelly, we have 39 students enrolled. We ended the year with 42, so that's, we're right now where we were. We have 11 that are in the process of being approved. 3 over income still sitting out there, so they have the potential of getting in. 2 2-year-olds that are already on the thing that don't turn 3 for several months, but they're just trying to get in there ahead of the game. Pre-K, we've got 102 today. 4 came in today to enroll, so numbers back up where they should be. We ended the year with 88, so that's back. Yeah, back more like what it should be. So we also, back in the, I think last spring, we had got that prime time, those book boxes. I brought one and showed y'all. So we received another grant. This is a prime time family reading grant. It's not a lot of money that comes to us. They've already shipped the books. Normally what would happen is families could apply, or you could choose your most at-risk families up to 30. We have a storyteller and a facilitator that would come in, read the stories, interact with the families, serve a meal. Of course, this is through the Louisiana Endowment for the Humanities. So it's all virtual. But so there's no money, I don't think, that actually comes to us. They'll pay the coordinators 3 people to oversee and run it for each session, 6 sessions. So what they're talking about is issuing like a gift card that would be given to those families. When they complete that night, they could go buy a meal. You know, not maybe a Subway, a pizza or something like that. So they may not have the meal the night of the Zoom, but they would be issued something when they completed it where they could go share a meal with their family. So the books, like I said, are in, and so when they, prior to that night, they'll get their book. They'll have the book with them, the storyteller. I had to do a 4-hour training Saturday on it. So the storyteller is on there telling it very, you know, these are people chosen from all over the state to do it. And then the facilitator's holding the book up, pointing to the pictures and doing it. That way the person telling the story isn't having to hold the book and juggle it. So it was really neat. It was really good. And they asked the questions they asked. It's really going to pull those families in with their kids and make them think about things. We chose to do favorites, they called it. So it's going to be books that are really exciting with the kids because they'll enjoy and they get to keep the books. So I think they actually get more than the 6 books. But they'll get their book ahead of time for that night, and then at the end, I think they'll get another. So to help build their libraries at home. So we're really excited about that, and so the families get to participate in that.
Good luck, Monica.
Thank you.
As always, Mark, you do a great job.
Thank you.
All right, let's go next.
Nobody wants to follow up the book presentation. You know, started school, got kids back. I am a little sad to say some of the kids that we thought we were gonna get back in person, especially the ones that are served by my department, doctors have just kind of, suggested to parents that our medically fragile kids don't need to be at school right now. So we are working really hard to see what we can do to provide for, these certain little tiny subset of kids some appropriate virtual services for them. We really wanted to have these kids back, and we're brokenhearted that they couldn't be here, but we want to do what's best for each individual kid.
Is it a
So,
large number?
I'm sorry?
Is it a large number?
Oh, no, it's a very small number of kids, but, the rest of our kids are, the past 2 days, I love Soft Start, in case you guys ever want to know our opinion on that. It's been so great to have teachers get to know a small number of kids and working out kinks in the schedule, and everybody's, just rocking and rolling and excited about the school year.
It's good for buses too. Have them on there and get them settled, and then the next day they're right.
Tomorrow's our first full everybody comes to school day.
Good luck, Rebecca.
Talk about what we've got installed, or, are looking.
I don't wanna skip over.
Mary, technology?
Sure, we've got the 133 BenQ interactive flat panels installed. A lot of the teachers are really rabbits. They're getting it figured out with or without our support. Love that bunch, and then they'll help each other, our Category 2 E-rate funding has been approved, and that means that we will be upgrading the Wi-Fi and the networks completely at the high school. We will finish out the last few little pieces at the junior high left over from our project last year, and we'll do the pre-K and Columbia Elementary. So pending equipment being received, because right now, the situation with receiving anything, especially electronics, is tough, and then installed. So hopefully through the fall, as we move towards Christmas time, I'm hoping that we'll be getting that work done. Lots of positive, good growth in technology this year, and hopefully we can get all the little kinks and things sorted out that the beginning of the year always brings, and get everybody rolling. So that's where we are.
So we have the cameras installed,
All the cameras are installed.
audio and everything.
Yes,
ma'am.
the audio, I don't believe Michael has yet enabled that part of it in the management, because I think he wants to conference independently with the building managers, the principals, and see where it's a bonus to have audio and where not. Like on a high mounted, external camera, it wouldn't really be a benefit, but maybe the ones in the halls in certain strategic spots. But they're gonna get all that tweaked, and I think, have they had that training with the cameras already?
Yes.
Principals?
Yes.
Okay, so they have had a training on it.
And we did, I know this was brought up last time, but about letting people know that they were being, and so Mr. Farr bought signs that go on every door, and they're bright yellow that says, by entering this building, you realize that you are being monitored audio and video surveillance, and that was what John Geist recommended that we do. So that's been taken care of. Yeah. So, good deal.
Good luck, Mary.
Thank you.
Abby, you're here. You want to talk about athletics any?
Yes, she does.
I'm here in technology.
Technology role.
A different capacity tonight, huh? Well, elementary's going strong. Of course, principals and teachers are my heroes, because they've been, as always, we were hoping we wouldn't have to endure what we're going through right now, but of course they handle everything beautifully, and with Rebecca, Soft Start Days are a gift, and I will always be a proponent, because it makes their job so much easier to get to know their kids, and it's a little less stressful, and they all need a little less stress in their lives. So we had great PD, our back to school, all of our meetings and our professional developments. We really focus on our new teachers a little bit more this year, so they're not so stressed getting started and we don't send them running to the hills. And they all came back today, and so that was a good thing. But the kids, we have a steady flow of kids re-entering and enrolling and coming back, and that's a wonderful thing. And so just continue to support and just be positive with your teachers and your principals because they're doing an amazing job.
Hey, Kim,
Yes, sir.
good luck.
Hi, Christy?
Okay. On the accountability side, of course, we all know that scores were released. You know, you've seen the things in the news that kind of scores are down across the state, but we expected that with as many kids as we got quarantined and virtual and everything. Trend has been pretty much that kids that were in person scored better than kids that were virtual. Again, that was expected, nothing major there. So the student scores have been released, they've been given to the kids, the schools have them. Teachers had their day-to-days where they actually grades 3 through 8, Kim worked with them, they looked at scores from last year, compared it to the interims and the diagnostics, everything they did with ANET, grades the kids had, all of that. And then they looked at the kids they're gonna have this year and started preparing for that. High school did the same thing, Mr. Simmons set that up with them. So everybody has scores and all the information. But the state is still working on summary reports and putting some of that out, so we'll get that to you once they have everything lined out and we have more information and it's all set. We're still waiting on the state to decide about accountability and school performance scores. They have not decided if they're gonna put out school performance scores. So we're waiting, I think they meet this month to kind of look at what they're gonna do, so we'll let you know as soon as they decide that. And like Kim said, we've had a lot of kids coming back. I've given over 20 placement tests of homeschool kids that are coming back, and that's not, there were several more or a lot more that are coming back that I didn't have to test. So those kids that went homeschool last year, they are returning, and I think our numbers are up a good bit because of that.
That can be good or bad.
Well, you know.
Good that we're getting them back so that we can try to recover.
Yeah, but the hell if they come to school and cause a problem. Which hopefully that won't be the case, man. You know, being out there and coming back in. That's really a transition, you know, for those kids. So hopefully, Christy, good luck.
Yeah.
Sager?
Like several have already said, soft start is amazing. It's really good for us, especially after the year we had last year. The kids did not come through the line for the most part, so they're relearning their numbers, and that has been a lot on my people. So not having the full group for 2 days has been nice. Everything is going well. All of the kids do still eat free breakfast and lunch. We are back as normal as possible. They're coming through, they're getting their meals, and most of them are staying in the cafeteria and eating. Some still take out, especially for breakfast, but it's as normal as we can get.
I was at Columbia Elementary this afternoon, and they were really bragging on the cafeteria workers there today.
Oh, well, good. That's good to hear. Thank you.
Sandra?
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. Item H is superintendent's report.
My notes here. So, talking about MFP, Kaylee and I ran some numbers today, and because I knew that Christy had been in home, I guess, giving the test to those who've been homeschooled, and so we were looking at where we are as far as getting kids back at school. And so last year when we ended, we had 1,575 students, so 1,575. And as of today, we have 1,622. So we're up, I think we counted about 45, 47, does it look like? That's my calculator out. So, right, and so there might be some students who are on our rosters that have moved and we haven't dropped them yet, so that's not a real hard number. We won't take a hard number till October 1st. But it was very encouraging to know that we've got 45 kids, more than we did last year when we ended. So our goal is just to get our kids back in our classrooms and re-engage with what we have. Kim talked about the professional development. We had Dave Burgess come teach like a pirate, and he did an excellent job of inspiring our teachers and our employees to make school fun, make school a place where kids want to come and where they don't want to miss out. Last year we kind of created a problem with our virtual instruction, that it was just easier to stay at home in bed and not come. And so now we want you to want to come. Not only are we making you come, we want you to come. And so that's been a big push for us. Of course, upset about the spike in cases and the fact that we came back in masks, and that's of course been a hot topic. But I think Casey Massel, and I keep quoting him whenever we talked about this. He's the family and consumer science teacher at the high school. He said, it's like you're running a marathon and now you have a rock in your shoe. And it's hard to keep focus on what you're here to do and what you're trying to do because you keep worrying about that rock. But really this hole is just a rock. We can't lose focus, and we're still working with our district strategic plan. Almost got it finalized and ready to move. We're not gonna let this stop us from focusing on what we're here to do. And so that's just gonna be the mantra this year is make this year amazing anyways. And so that brings me to my next point, and that our district strategic plan will need to be adopted. And so before we do that, I would like to see about scheduling a retreat with y'all on September the 30th, which would be, a couple weeks before the board meeting in October, for us to really sit down and go through all of the information that came out of the district strategic planning process, where we'll talk about the test scores that involved, the surveys and the focus groups and all of the longitudinal data. It's a lot of information, and then how we arose at our strategic plan and the initiatives that we want to carry out for this next year. I did receive word that we have funding for some of our initiatives, and so we were granted an additional $85,000 to help fund these initiatives that we want. They're along the lines of instruction and family engagement and social emotional and school culture, and making sure that the people who work for us feel valued and appreciated. So those are some of the areas we'd like to address. And so if that's okay with y'all, we'll have our board retreat on September the 30th from 5 to 7.
So on Thursday, I'm gonna be a little late. Let's get off the 5.
Is that from 5 to 7 in the morning? I can't.
Oh, no. I would not be here then. So,
I hate my alarm already.
but that's all I have.
Maybe just one question.
Sure.
I think those 3 employees that we hired under the grant.
Yes.
Have you already hired?
Absolutely.
Who are they? 'Cause
Okay.
I know the real
Good question. Okay, so our district literacy specialist is Miss Maria Guerrero, and Miss Adams and I met with her today, and she went over all of the literacy things that are coming down in dyslexia. Kim looked at me and she said, "Thank God we have Maria." Because it's a lot. There's a big push from the state, and so she has moved in. We cleared out a filing room and set her up an office in here, and so she is busy working there. And then Charlie Amos.
Charlie?
Mm-hmm. He is from, I think, originally from Crowell, and has worked in Franklin Parish and Richland Parish.
I met him.
Yes.
And what is his position?
He is the academic recovery specialist at the high school, and so he had been working in a district that was a full TAP district. So TAP is the observation model that we use to evaluate our teachers. He also learned how to lead the professional learning communities and really focus in on that. He's been through NISL training, which is what our administrators have been through, and goodness, what else? I mean, it's a lot.
Is he the one that's gonna, I guess, be dealing with those students?
Yes. So his 2 main objectives are to work with teachers to lead their professional learning communities so that they can create lessons that are engaging to students and make them want to come to school. And then his second part is he is tracking the students who really struggled last year because of virtual or attendance issues and the grades just in general, and trying to re-engage them in school. And so setting up processes where he will meet with them and then and maybe talk to their parents and just try his best to get those kids re-engaged at the high school level. Did I sum that up again? Okay. So, super excited about having him on our team.
Who was the third one?
Well, Delinda went to Grayson as the, principal and as,
No, it was the early childhood.
oh,
thing.
yeah, that was what it was, early childhood.
You know, when we did those.
Cynthia Platt.
Okay.
I mean, I just wanted to know.
Yes.
Right,
About 95% of these people I don't know, and I may walk
Right.
past them and, you know,
Yeah.
and so I just kind of,
Yes,
get
Cynthia
familiar
Platt.
with them, you know.
I guess now is a good time to probably let y'all know too, we are looking at, and it did not need to come before the board, but I want you to know, we are looking at hiring an additional LPN. We already have that job description because we have one, and we just learned that, LPNs now can do the same billing with Medicaid that our RNs do. And, our RNs are swamped with, all of this, with the COVID, and it's affecting our billing because they can't bill for the COVID work that they do, and so it really, when we look at the numbers, hiring an additional LPN would help us to be able to recover that Medicaid money that we're losing out on because of COVID, and also help us to deal with the amount of contact tracing that they're having to do. So we are advertising for an additional LPN, and it would solely be funded out of the ESSER money, and only for it would be like on a yearly basis, as long as COVID is going on.
So their contract would be year to year or no contract at all?
Year to year.
The only other question is, there's a board member who wanna know, can soft start be extended?
Really?
I like it too.
Oh, yeah, like do it year after year?
Well,
No, the rest, there's some more to this.
Oh, goodness.
yeah, they,
Soft start extended.
We're gonna vote for that.
Play for 3 weeks or something like that.
Every other day, what you say.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. At this short notice, I think that I would, have my head on a stick.
I don't think parents would like it.
Honestly, I have dealt with some mad parents whose kids are quarantined, they don't understand the rules, and the parents have to take off work when their kids are quarantined if they can't find. Yeah, I've dealt with that for the last 2 days.
Yeah, talking about the 4 nurses again, I mean, you think about these 2 ladies, for over a year now, they've spent all day long doing nothing but calling people who are mad at them because they have to call and say, your kid can't come to school for 2 weeks or something like that.
there's no way you can, like, maybe quarter it, some type of incentive for them, because, I mean, they've been on the front line from day one.
Well, we did use our ESSER money last year to, like, pay them additional stipends for the work that they are doing outside of their work hours. Because a lot of times, you don't find out about something till later in the day, and then by the time you get to contact tracing, they're working till 7 or 8 o'clock at night, contacting these families to tell them your kids can't come back to school. So we did budget into our last pot, and we will continue, and I told them, you keep a timesheet, and we will, and we capped it at so many hours, but, they use them.
Say a little bit of something. What I couldn't say. When I was doing my professional development, normally I was just here. But superintendent of state was saying some things that captivated me. And one of them was, most of the parents in Louisiana basically don't know what's going on in this school system. And I began to pay attention to that. And I was listening to you talking about the coronavirus. You got to give and take. And I'm not gonna be long at this, and I noticed something Tuesday. Most of those teachers are new, right? A lot of them are new.
We have not as many new teachers as we did last year,
What
but we do have
I
some.
noticed was, they had a positive attitude. And I noticed something Mr. Guy said, you need to be careful what you say to kids. Because I see students that I taught years ago, and they still have an ought against certain teachers. And I don't want to be that individual. I want to do all I can for him. That man sat on there behind that door here. Thank God for him, for me. I'm serious about this. We cannot continue. Hey, life is, and superintendent, I'm gonna take her job for $1 million. And, what we need to do is keep going together, regardless. I seen something, see, I talked about it personal, in a way. I never seen that before in my 40 years of teaching. I never disrespected my superior or another one of my co-workers. If they say do this, I did it. And Coach Adams, she can tell you, we worked hard. And you didn't talk about the principal, not so what you can do it, we talk about it.
Be careful now.
I'm gonna talk about you, I'm gonna take you to your case. But I'm praying, I really am, that we can go through this. I'm not, the pandemic, if it's not that, it's something else.
We just gotta keep our focus. We
That's
have to
it.
stay
There
the
you go.
course and
That's it
not
right
get
there.
sidetracked.
And stay on the same team.
And stay on the same
There you
team.
go.
That's right. That's
Don't
right.
change teams.
Team Caldwell.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Got a second?